First up, after multiple public displays of hate around the River City, Inside Jacksonville's Carter Mudgett takes a closer look at how the community is responding to push back against hate.
Sometimes it feels like we're going backwards in Jacksonville.
2023 began with fireworks and confetti, but has been increasingly tarnished by displays of hate that are just as public. Jacksonville is no stranger to public displays of hate either. Anti-Semitic messages were written on banners hung from highway overpasses, and white supremacy symbols were projected onto buildings downtown. Particularly in the last 18 months, Florida has been a hotbed for hate, part of a movement that some say is turning Jacksonville around.
I sense that there's a corporate awareness in Jacksonville, this growing sense that we are in some ways going back from a growth towards being a multicultural city that respects each other.
There were nearly 3,700 anti-Semitic incidents across America in 2022, the highest number ever recorded by the Anti-Defamation League. They haven't stopped. After 9 months into 2023, there have been 27 different anti-Semitic events across Florida alone, including 3 in Jacksonville.
It's certainly jarring to come across a person with a big Nazi flag in public. It takes a lot of chutzpah, a lot of gall. It doesn't deter the Jewish community. From my experience, it galvanizes the Jewish community.
All 50 states have felt the impact of anti-Semitism this year. However, Florida in particular has been the site of various forms of public hate, namely those against the LGBT community, Black community, Jewish community, and everyone in between. Locally, the Jewish Community Alliance and Jacksonville YMCA have launched a new campaign called Together Against Hate that aims to bring diverse voices to diverse places across the city, opening the door to new conversations about combating hate in all its forms.
We're hoping that we get, even if it's just one person from this series of programs, but hopefully it'll be more, that at least listens, that wouldn't have listened before, then it was a successful thing to do. I think lack of exposure, lack of knowledge about other groups is a major reason why people have the prejudices they do. I expect it to be a recurring thing, because unfortunately I don't think we're going to fix all the problems in a 6-month program.
Conversations may not be the final solution to Jacksonville's problem of hate, but they are a start. The Jewish Community Alliance and Jacksonville's YMCA Together Against Hate series will tackle 5 forms of hate ranging from racism to anti-Semitism. It will end with a 5K run in February 2024. Carter Mudgett, Inside Jacksonville.
Attacks against the LGBTQ+ community have been increasing in the state of Florida this year. Inside Jacksonville's Carter Mudgett shows us how some River City groups are trying to bring awareness to this new reality.
I think it's fair to mention the fact that statewide right now, LGBTQ+ individuals are more under attack than ever before.
There were 725 anti-LGBTQ+ bills introduced across America this year, according to the Movement Advancement Project. In Florida, Governor Ron DeSantis is waging a war on diversity, equity, and inclusion, and signed a record 6 expressly anti-LGBTQ+ bills into law this year. According to the Human Rights Campaign, that's more than the last 7 years combined.
We're not getting just to act on one front in the legislation. They're coming at us from all sides in all sorts of different ways.
Every time a new bill gets passed, it's kind of, I'm desensitized to it in a way. It's kind of an expected thing at this point.
Jack's River City Pride has been around since 1978, almost a full decade after the birth of the gay rights movement. In the years since, the nonprofit has worked to increase LGBTQ+ acceptance and participate in the city's annual Pride Parade and other festivities. However, with the backing of a new mayor amid increased attacks, those same events are carrying more weight this year.
One of the emotional things is watching Donna Deegan go through as a prime example, and every pocket of people that she hit along the parade route was ecstatic. I mean, the praise and the cheers that happened as she rolled through, that was a very emotional time.
Hundreds of people marched in the River City Pride Parade this year, turning the streets of Jacksonville rainbow. During a time of increased hate against those different than the majority, it's a powerful statement from the local community. Together with local organizations like River City Pride, they're flying a new banner of diversity, acceptance, and most importantly, unity throughout Jacksonville.
It was definitely a historic year for us, right? We have our first female mayor in the city, and we wanted to include that within the Pride festivities. We wanted to recognize the historical meaning behind this year in general.
The shift recently, especially with the election of Mayor Deegan, kind of shows that Jacksonville is no longer being that good old boy hub and being controlled by the far right that has kind of made it feel unfriendly to our community. So I think in relation to the rest of the state, our community is actually more accepting than the state as a whole, especially now that we have Mayor Deegan in office.
Though Florida is ramping up attacks against the LGBTQ+ community and shuttering its doors, Jacksonville is opening its arms. Carter Mudgett, Inside Jacksonville.
Florida laws are shifting the education landscape in Florida. Inside Jacksonville's Carter Mudgett shows how laws are impacting future teachers in the River City.
The education landscape was completely flipped on its head in 2023. In the wake of several policy changes across Florida, teachers and future teachers have been left unsure of next steps.
My students are constantly questioning, well, what can I say in the classroom? What can I teach in the classroom? What books are allowed in the classroom? And in many cases, I don't have the answer because the laws keep changing. But they're changing constantly in a direction of being more prohibitive than open.
The majority of the classmates that I am alongside who are majoring in English with me, it is almost a unanimous decision that teaching is off the table because of these issues.
So many of them are excited, but many of them are also very scared because they know what they want to do. They're fearful they won't be able to do it.
Florida laws introduced new guidelines for what teachers are and are not allowed to say, teach, and do in the classroom. Now, educators are stuck between a rock and a hard place on how to best prepare future teachers for those environments.
Do we prepare teachers for the realities of the classrooms they're going to go in today? Or do we teach them what we know based upon research are the best practices for students?
According to U.S. Census data, Jacksonville's diversity is rising, yet it's being frowned upon in the classroom. The union at the University of North Florida began self-reporting a faculty exodus months ago, and a similar story may be unfolding in Duval.
As we recruit educators into the field, we are losing them just as rapidly. And a lot of that does have to do with the complex environment in which people are serving today.
Teachers are getting demoralized by having to do things that they do not believe are in the best interest of their students.
A lot of the people that I know that are staying really are staying because they find a passion in the struggle. I like the idea of finding joy in struggle. The people who are leaving have seen their area of joyful expression as a teacher closed out.
Even as Florida laws paint a bleak and boring picture for some, there are still those taking the challenges in stride, ready for their chance to experience the joy of teaching.
What our research has shown us is that people who choose to be teachers, I was myself once one of those people, they are in it for the students.
Carter Mudgett, Inside Jacksonville.